7 minutes before the train left. The train station clock had always been broken, frozen at 6:53, as if time itself had given up trying to move forward. Meera noticed it every morning on her commute, but never thought much of it until the morning she met Eli. She was late, as usual. Coffee sloshing dangerously close to the lid, scarf half-tied, mind tangled in unfinished thoughts. The platform was crowded, yet she felt strangely alone, cocooned in the quiet panic of routine. Then someone bumped into her, not hard, just enough to make her look up. "I'm so sorry," he said, already reaching for the coffee before it could fall. Their eyes met. It was ridiculous how something so small could feel so large. His eyes were warm, uncertain, like he was constantly thinking about something important and forgetting what it was. Meera felt an unfamiliar pause inside her chest, a hesitation she didn't know she'd been waiting for. "It's okay," she said, though her heart had started beating too loudly. They boarded the same train, stood near the same door, and didn't speak again. But when he got off 3 stops early, he turned back just before the doors closed. "Tomorrow," he said, unsure why. "Same time?" She surprised herself by nodding. That night, Meera lay awake replaying the moment. She told herself it was nothing, just a stranger. Just coincidence. But the next morning, when she arrived at the platform and saw him already there, leaning awkwardly against a pillar, relief washed over her like a secret. "Hi," he said. "I'm Eli. Meera." That was all it took. They talked in fragments at first about the weather, the broken clock, the way the train always smelled faintly of rain. Soon fragments became stories. Stories became confessions. They discovered they both loved bookstores more than people and feared being forgotten more than being alone. Eli was a photographer who never took pictures of himself. Meera wrote letters she never sent. Every morning, they shared exactly 7 minutes before the train arrived. 7 minutes to be honest. 7 minutes to laugh. 7 minutes to feel seen. Meera began measuring her life in those moments. The rest of the day became something to endure so she could return to the platform the next morning. She started dressing more carefully, smiling more easily. She caught herself imagining Eli in places he had never been, sitting across from her at dinner, reading beside her in silence, knowing her in ways that felt both terrifying and inevitable. But she never asked him to stay. And he never asked her to leave with him. One morning Eli didn't show. Meera waited, scanning every face, telling herself she was foolish for worrying. The train arrived, she didn't get on. The next day he still wasn't there. By the 4th morning, the broken clock felt cruel. 6:53, frozen, unmoving, just like the space he'd left behind. She almost didn't notice the envelope until she sat on the bench they always shared. Her name was written on it in careful, familiar letters. Inside was a photograph. It was of her laughing, head tilted back, scarf unraveling in the wind. She didn't remember him taking it. There was a note on the back. "I never learned how to say goodbye without sounding like I didn't care. So I'll say this instead. You made 7 minutes feel like a lifetime." Her hands trembled. That night, Meera cried not loudly, but deeply, like something was breaking open rather than apart. She realized then how fully she had loved him, how love had slipped in quietly while she wasn't watching. Weeks passed. Life resumed its dull insistence. The platform returned to being just a place. Until one evening, months later, Meera found herself standing at the station again, not for work, but because her heart had led her there without explanation. The clock still read 6:53, and then she saw him. Eli stood near the edge of the platform, older somehow, like life had pressed its thumb against him. He looked up, and for a moment, neither of them moved. "I left," he said finally, voice thick. "I was scared." Of how fast it was becoming everything, Meera stepped closer. "You could have told me." "I know," he swallowed. "I came back because I realized something. 7 minutes was never the point. You were." The train roared into the station, loud and impatient. Meera looked at the clock, still broken. She smiled. Looks like we have time, she said. And this time, neither of them let the train leave without them.